So here we are back in the market looking at Bitcoin. RSI shows us it is breaking higher, but the price is still inside the trading range. Yes, we do see a trend line here, short-term trend line. It is kind of supporting the price and the moving average is coming up. But the fact that you look at various different aspects in this market and you see things which does make sense, kind of gives you the advantage of understanding like, okay, there is a possibility if we do not break this now to the upside, most likely we may have a correction. Now, that's not to scare you. Instead, you also have to understand the macro. This one candle, the monthly, has erased all these bearishness. Remember, we had the Luna crash here. We came down with that. Agreed. But then, now you are going back to that level, erasing last 6.5 months of bearishness in the market, which is actually positive in terms of Bitcoin. Then, when you take a look at XRP, yes, things are evolving. You do see the 21-day moving average crossing the 50 to the upside, and we know what happens when these crosses come into the market, right? Now, if we put that results together and ask the question like, okay, what do you anticipate the price to do? It will look something like this. But again, this is crypto market. We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, as we discussed yesterday, the market cap is still close to $1.1 trillion. You still see a lot of medium, small, micro caps popping. Now, if you are here and you are looking for those kind of opportunities, you can actually look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. We were having the calls and it is slowly breaking to the upside. One by one, we actually see breakouts, retest, and bounces. So when it is bouncing, now it's your choice to wait for you. What's your target? And if the target is being hit, take the profits, right? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. While looking at all this chart, you also have to understand we have a macro event coming. And, this week is going to be eventful. We highlight the Fed rate hike, but we also have other central banks going to act on this. Now, say even if Fed say, okay, Fed is actually going to do a 25 and pause, you may not actually see that with ECB. They may still go because they were really late to the party and they are going to have to do this more. So you will see that struggle between the central banks. But what you should understand is that price is showing you various signals. Say here, if you look at the index crossing, the 21 crossing the 50 to the upside. Now, remember what happens here. Here on a 3-day chart, when the 21 crossed the 50 to the upside, at that time you made a local top, which is interesting because a lot of people say, okay, that's bullish, you're going to go higher right now. The chart says it's the opposite, right? The market seems highly efficient at that time. The bullish signal is coming into the market. Everyone is bullish. That opportunity is erased. Now, look at the other side of it. You're crossing to the downside and you make a local bottom. So right now, when you are going towards this range where you're going to cross to the upside on a 3-day, I would say most likely within a month, you're going to get a local top somewhere. Now, is it going to be at $1, $2? No one knows, right? Now, that's a 3-day chart. So you go back on a daily asking like, okay, how does that interpret or come into a daily chart? Daily has already crossed to the upside here. And as we know, that or something close to that should be the local top, which means you already have a top and you may actually get a correction. Now that is healthy. Look at the RSI. It has room to the downside to reach this trend line support. Look at the MACD. It is trying to cross to the downside. So you may have a retest of the top like what we had back here when the MACD was about to cross. You got that bounce and the price retested before it continued lower. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get this kind of drop because that was the FTX scenario, right? So a normal retest and bounce is going to be healthy in this market. Now, inside XRP, when you're on a macro, you do see there is a trend line evolving, right? And you are closely following the RSI, you do see that from June, we are starting to trending higher. But yes, we do have to break this level of 61 in the RSI to become really bullish. Why is that? You go back in history all the way like 3, 4, 5 years and you see that level has been a support and a resistance for a very long time. And if you notice one thing, by that time when the RSI crosses above 60, XRP price is blasting through to the upside. Right now, it's just 50. So we are just turning neutral. From there, 50 to 60, you are moving towards the bullish side. Now go back to that 3-day chart which we discussed. When the 21-day is neutral and moving towards 50 to cross back to the upside, what happens? You get a rally. So if we interpreted that correctly, we have something coming. Now, can that happen in next 10 days or next 30 days? Who knows when that's going to come? But historically speaking, you actually see this. The 21 is crossing the 50 to the upside, but on a weekly, you already had put a top. Now, we go back here, you look at this. You're crossing to the downside. You already had made a local bottom and you went back to retest the moving average. So if that is true, again, now this is on a weekly. What we talked here was on a 3-day. This one here is even bigger. It's on a weekly chart. A weekly chart showing you a possible cross, bullish cross coming here means before that cross comes in, you are going to see a local top. Now, can that be $1, $2? No one actually knows. It's going to be just speculation if I say a number. But again, based on what we look here in the technical analysis, if you break this line to move towards your next target, your measured move is going to be this one, right? This pattern is being broken and 150% move. So you're breaking this level of 0.45 and say you plot it towards 150, you come to 1.13. So if it's me, I would say the first local top is going to be close to $1. Remember, that's the first rally here. Then you'll have correction, then you'll go up. So if you put that number here from the top towards this one, now we are looking for like $2.53. Then another correction, but this correction back then had the SEC drama, so it kind of erased a lot of gains. But look at how the market responded. The market came back up with a 10x move. Yeah, the crypto market as a whole did much more than that, but XRP also did 10x with the SEC case on. So if you consider that kind of move, now we are looking for something around $16 to $20. Now, what if the SEC case is hammering us? Okay, then it's lower than that. But it actually makes sense to understand like, okay, something is brewing in next 30 to 40 days. That's good. But the short-term scenario is still troubling. We are not actually breaking this range to the upside, which is a concern. But yes, again, you come here in the market and you're seeing a lot of different breakouts in the market. See, you're looking at R&D, a render, a project, cloud rendering project. You need to understand if you are using, Revit or any other projects and you need to render, your computer may not be that perfect workstation to render those, right? So the use case is still there and it's going to be massive over time. Now look at this. We had the call, we had the target, everything clear. Now, if you are the normal retail guy who's looking at this, you can clearly understand one thing. We came lower, something changed here. You were not trending to the downside after this. So that was your low. That was the Luna Terra crash, right? Now you look at this, you broke to the upside after that. You're making a higher high, a swing high, even about this level before the FTX crash. So which means if FTX didn't crash at that time, you may have already gone up. Fine. Now we are breaking through that level. But what is of my concern right now for this is, look at the volume on a daily. The volume now is a sell volume, which for me is like, okay, we broke this level, clear, we may actually get a retest. That's the amount of sell volume there. So you can actually go into a 4-hour chart and look for what the market is showing you. Then on the short-term chart, surprise, this is the trend line, which it actually broke to the upside, because usually we get this pattern. In the last video, we discussed about DEN, ZIL, FTM, other assets which we're having rising wedge, which is bearish, but then the market decides to break higher. So that broke to the upside. Now, can that be just a fake out? We don't know, but looking at the indicators, it's hard to say it's a fake out on a 4-hour time frame. Now, that's a short-term scenario in the market. So as soon as you step back to get more noise and clarity to understand different levels, you actually see this. You're like, okay, I don't think there is a lot of that, but we do need buyers coming in. Now, you look at the market fluctuation and you can say like, okay, the volume is increasing, which can actually definitely mean like, okay, the price can go up. But right now, look at the sell towards buy. Sellers are much more. Buyers are only like 70% of the sellers here. And that makes sense when we are talking about the volume here. Last time when you got this amount of sell, you corrected initially. Then afterwards, you started correcting heavily. Now, one of the things which we all have to keep in mind is here at this time, you got a small red candle or a bear candle, in this one, the black candle. But at the same time, recognize the volume. The volume has been massive in red compared to all these fluctuations, which actually highlighted there is a big possibility coming in for a correction. You got the same here. The price wicked a little bit, but the volume on the negative side was a ton. But you didn't get big correction back then. So you also had a higher high formation in the price structure, which then gave you a divergence here in the RSI. So now at this particular point, when we analyze the history, we currently are looking at like a lot of different indicators suggesting a correction is coming. Now, right now, great. What are we looking at? This shows you it's clearly a volume indicator showing red. Agreed. Now, are we going to get a continuation to the upside or down? We'll have to wait and see what the RSI suggests us. Because after this, the first one, you actually got another high coming there. So if you have measured moves which are still up, most likely you're going to go hit that level and then come back down. And that's where we are actually looking at Bitcoin too. If you are a Bitcoin bull, you may still have an opportunity where Bitcoin breaks through and go touch 25K. Now, Bitcoin touching 25K is actually really bullish, because you need to understand on a daily chart, that is actually a macro breakout. And that is retesting your previous level of resistance, which would be somewhere close here, this range. So if you are putting that resistance range here, now it is clear to say it is healthy for the market to break this level and go higher, test this level, and then come back lower. So we have like two scenarios possible. One, the market come back down right now, or the RSI comes lower, the price goes higher. It creates a local top. And then the RSI and price is giving you a divergence. Then it corrects back down, just like what we talked about here. So going towards 25, then coming back to 20 is still possible. Now, in the market, anything can happen, right? No one can say what's going to happen right now, but what we are looking at is how other respondents are doing. Say in this market, say we right now has a lot of institutions, a lot of retailers, a lot of volume coming in. So the buy and sell orders right now are most likely making markets. And on a short term, as we talk, this is breaking higher. So we had a call previously saying, okay, keep an eye closely here. And we are looking at that. If we manage to break above and close above, That's good. Why? On a short term, we actually looked at Bitcoin. And what we saw, as we discussed earlier in this video, we are looking at a breakout on a short term. So on a short term, you do see a move to the upside. But what's the issue? Now, remember, on a short term here in the MACD, you're seeing that is about to cross to the upside. So that's bullish. Now, on the same asset, you step a little bit back and you see the MACD suggesting a correction. RSI saying, okay, I don't know where to go. I'm neutral. Or I can go to the downside. I went up and I'm in the overbought territory. So you put that together, it means like, okay, you can go to 24, 25, that range and still get correction. Now, if BTC is doing that 24, 25% correction, what does that mean to XRP? The short-term narrative in XRP. So you actually remove all this and then just go towards a short-term price fluctuation for XRP. And we are looking at the market. Now we need to actually make sense of how the other participants are looking at this. Is the market really efficient? If you look at this, we are trying to break this pattern to the upside, which is good. But we need to get a confirmation that we are breaking to the upside with a candle close and then get both of these indicators going bullish. So RSI is already breaking, MACD is trying to cross to the upside. So as soon as we get the next 4-hour candle, we get a confirmation for short term, we are going back up. So you will see a lot of these small assets running higher if Bitcoin decides to go retest $25,000. Now remember, we have to look at these prices in different exchanges where you can actually go, say you just put in Bitcoin and you're going to actually look up that asset. So here, what we are observing right now on our hourly chart is that it is trying to retest the previous top. So if it actually breaks higher here, that's going to be a great opportunity. You're going to see a lot of altcoins running huge. And if you're already in some of these trades, some of leverage trades, some normal trades, the spot trades, you are going to see your targets being hit every now and then. Now, if you are looking for those kind of calls, when to enter, when I exit, what assets I'm entering, why I'm entering, what is the target actually, and why is that? You can actually look at the Patreon. The link is in the description. Now, right now, it's really interesting. As I'm recording this and I'm observing this, I'm like, okay, on the other side, I want to look like what these assets are doing, where I had my calls on. But I'm like, okay, let me wait. Let me look at those after the video. But right now, what I'm going to do is before we close the session, we want to actually see where the money is going. Because it is important to understand when Bitcoin volume is changing, you will see some assets, new assets which didn't move up recently get volume and move. So it kind of gives you an idea of, okay, these assets are moving now. So if you know what assets are highly correlated with them, now you have upper hand in the market. So if you know Dash and other assets are highly correlated, now you are like, okay, I'm looking at that asset. It's trying to break out. It's just breaking. I'm entering. You get the advantage there. Now, this is the first 100, so you know that. You need a ton of money to move that range. But if you are in the next 100 or even the next 100 within the 300, 150 to 300, you will have a lot of opportunity here. Look at these coins, like, go learn the chart from Veracity, PandiX, and all these coins. And especially, here the volume is too low, right? It's just $200,000. So 3 or 4 members here can literally move the market. So if you're entering there, you should be careful. Whereas if it's something like, close to $100,000, it's like, you don't even look at that level. If it's above 10 million, now, okay, it's tradable. You have proper liquidity to enter and exit. Otherwise, the risk level is higher. So you need to manage the amount with which you are entering. Now, without getting much excited, we are back here looking at this hourly chart, and then we understand that's a big resistance range. We have tried that multiple times and failed. So right now, before we go bullish, we need to see a breakout. We won't actually say this is going to happen. Instead, we are going to say we'll wait and let the market show us what it's going to do, and you will act based on that. Because we've been here from a long time and we've learned a lot of lessons. And this, when you put back into the loop, gives you the advantage. And that's why when we actually put all these charts, we actually go through the history, we go through all this, what we have learned, so that we are not making any mistakes again. If you make it once, it's a mistake. But if you're making that another time, it's not, right? So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And again, I've actually started a new channel. You all know that. Now, from this video, I changed the voice. It's a new guy talking. The voiceover is being done separate. I heard your comments, the pronunciation, the wordings, the American native language or the British native language. You asked and I found like an American native speaker. And if you actually go into that channel and listen to the recent video and let me know what you really think about it, I'll be really happy to take that feedback. And I've tried my maximum to reduce the total time here. It's just 2.5 minutes video. So if you have 3 minutes video, 3 minutes to spare and you're watching that and letting me your opinion, I'd be really happy. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.